Hey, how's it going today? It's Sunday, 31st of December, and we're taking a look at what kind of opportunities are available out there. I thought it might would be worth taking a look at some of the, or perhaps bringing more interest in some of those areas. That would be education and inspiring your teaching and learning. So overall, that would be Royal Society of Chemistry and everything what great people within this society is doing, right? Let's touch on that. I don't know if it's more and what they're looking for. There might be individuals, not necessarily businesses, but might as well let's try to generate some attention. So some of the great things that they're doing, right? Some of those sectors, right? And how fast you yourself you need to find yourself. You don't need to be a smarter. Someone said it right. You need to be a first, or you need to cheat, right? I'm not a cheater, so no. So I'm looking to be an early mover within different sectors, right? And or I can be smarter, but I think it's way smarter people out there. So we are just limited to, I guess, or find ourselves in a situation where we need to be a first if we can, and if we are taking a look at some of those areas, right? I have touched on satellites in particular, right? It's a very important areas. It can have a large effect for many people, but perhaps people know that, right? So it would not necessarily be anything new, but it's very important areas, right? And we're progressing, and we are taking a look at some of the perhaps chemistry and potentially applications there. Let's try to understand this competition. Fuel your students, curiosity, and represent your secondary school at our annual chemistry competition. Okay, so it's something that they do constantly, perhaps every year. Top of the bench for every secondary school in UK and for every 14 to 16 year olds. So it will be okay. I don't know if this content of the channel is suitable underage people. My experience and overall feedback can be I can be very frustrating, I guess, and overall myself or listening to me right all day can be very frustrating, right? But overall, this is important, right? This is important, as such, and that to help our members. We have been organizing and running this annual competition for more than 20 years. As a result, hundreds of students have had the chance to see chemistry in a new light and put particular and/or team working skills into action. Okay, so it's something that perhaps they're doing all the time, as well as who can take part, right? So the perhaps age, I'm not entirely sure why they're looking to perhaps increase interest, but they should not necessarily limit it to that particular age. Myself, I'm looking for professionals within some of those areas, not necessarily at that age, right? So I'll just move to the next one. It's too young. I will touch on this opportunity and I'm gonna move to the next one, right? So, but perhaps there's great things that they're doing as well. That would be Crank It. It's a challenge-led competition that funds collaborations between industry, academia, and or SMEs to solve the business and specific challenges, which will deliver free arts benefit either by improving business process or developing commercial products, depending on the challenge. Contracts of up to £1 million or up to 3 years are available, right? So, so what I'm saying, opportunities out there, right? And I don't know if that would be within perhaps industries that I'm interested in. Well, I thought might as well touch on that. That they are doing great things and there's financial incentives there. So I'll progress. I'll move to the next one. Let's do a quick round. Myself, I think at one point or so I was more in the fitness and industry, and I had a chance of feeling how hard it can be. But either way, so it might be worth supporting some of those grant programs and good things that people are doing, right? That would be Beauty Back Trust grant program, and they are taking a look at or supporting Beauty Back Trust, right? So everyone affected, and perhaps that would be the people who had to not to work, right? So there might be the effect feel within some of those industries, right? So there's a financial incentives there, and or perhaps if they are looking for, they might require some forms to fill in. If anything, the process would be very similar. If you can perhaps reach out and try to ask questions before filling any documentation, right? if there's still money left within the budget or anything, it might be a lot of time wasted. What I'm saying is financial support is available for the people who are the most affected with some of those industries, right? Let's touch on this opportunity, right, and progress, right? Just perhaps putting things into perspective that this kind of opportunities are available, right? And again, this opportunity will be structured so it's location based, right? So wherever your business might be located, right? And I think it's not necessarily for individuals, so that will be more for business. I won't go too much into detail because I don't think that would be within my location, but there might be some people who might be interested. But again, the process would be very similar, right? If you can reach out to the people who are organizing that and ask questions before filling in any documents, because they really can be very problematic people from my personal experience, and there could be so much time wasted. So that's overall feedback coming into this, right? And as well as it would be worth trying to understand what there might be vouchers and not really money exchanging hands, and so there's a bunch of things that might be shoved into the contract and all the documents, so it would just look to waste your time, right? But that's just an example. So and if anything, there's a financial assistance available that perhaps they would put within the contract that you can only use that finance on particular things, as well as I can see right now that they're saying that it's 50% match funding. So they would say, we're gonna give you 2,500, but not really. What are we actually gonna give you? 1,250, right? It's a lot of things. So what I'm saying is worth perhaps read and or trying to understand. And it might be how the councils within those areas are looking to allocate capital, and they would perhaps they have a group of people who would decide, if you have a business, or depending on what kind of business you have, they might say, we already allocate a lot of capital to logistical businesses. We're not interested in allocating anymore into that particular area. So basically, they might be judges, right? If you will succeed or fail, right? So many things, right? So that's overall feedback, but there's financial incentives there and or opportunities how you can potentially be compensated, I guess. So there's something, right? Let's touch on that and perhaps to analyze everything on this one, right? The business development grant scheme, so right, so they might be able to offer financial incentives in supporting and or setting up the organizations, which it can be a very time-consuming process, and there would be some grant funding available there for people who are interested, right? And it seems that there's some deadlines. I can touch on those, and let's go with a system and try to understand what's going on there. Yeah. As I mentioned, there are perhaps hundreds and hundreds of those grants available, right? So you yourself be very careful and when reading all this information, right? Since there might be uh, all kind of people write down all kind of nonsense sometimes within those contracts and trying to get other people in trouble with those way how they would structure some of those contracts. That's my personal experience, right? But there would be perhaps there would be great people for organizing this. What I'm saying is just try to be careful, right? And there would be perhaps taking a look at the dates, right? So the next all closing date would be Friday, 23rd of February 2024, right? And there's potential they are receiving finance, and they are taking a look at eligibility criteria of the business, a startup grant, and as well as a business expansion grant. So what would be classified as a startup, and what would be classified as expansion grants, right? So if you yourself, perhaps that would be interest, right? Supporting local communities, right? And all people setting up with different organizations through those communities and running their company. Great. So that would be how everything would begin. So we need more businesses. Great. Let's do that. Let's set up more businesses within that area. So let's offer financial incentives, which is great. Works on the paper. But then you start reading some of those contracts. That's where the problems would begin, right? Yourself, if you're interested in learning more, I have published a book, Project Fifth Flow. Within this book, I'm taking a look and I'm sharing some information that might be important for people who are looking to enter fitness and or trying to understand how to be more healthy, in particular than we're entering a new year. It might be important for many people, and I will try to bring you their own understanding and improving some of those areas as working out, perhaps recovery, and or nutrition. That will be very important areas and entering this industry or fitness industry, right? And I'm sharing it for more on the business perspective that it will be beginner friendly, how to begin and potentially progress all the way and potentially begin generating money out of that. It's something that you might enjoy doing it, right? You can find it QR code in the corner company's website below. Either way, perhaps I don't know. So that if I would read all this contract, not necessarily I would be able to discuss that contract, but it can sometimes within a contract they would put something like, or which work it can work very perfectly, right? Would potentially give you a grant that you can receive for your business, but you're gonna need to rent that particular office. And this office has been owned by that company, right? And you're like, I don't need to rent anything. They would put that within a contract, right? So that's some of the things to watch for, right? But there's one thing, I don't know, some financial incentives there of beginning or starting your own business, right? Thanks for watching. I'll see you next one.